Thank you so much for welcoming me back. It's such a wonderful and beautiful community. Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge Turkey and Syria and the earthquakes. We're powerless over earthquakes and tornadoes and these things that affect our community. But then we find our power in searching for survivors. Even though over 22,000 people have perished in the earthquake, they found the stories of finding children and babies and couples hand in hand. And there's power in that. And so we take that. Power, keeping everything in the heart. Whew. What's that mean? That means whatever it is I do, that I'm coming from a heart space. Whatever it is I say, I'm coming from a heart space. Doesn't matter what I think, I can always change what I think. But what I do, what I speak, has got to come from the heart. And how I learned that is that in 2 days, it's Valentine's Day. And I feel I've been so fortunate to have been born on Valentine's Day. There you go. So whenever I go to like the doctor's office and they ask, or I call and ask, what's your birthday? I always tell them February 14, a day we celebrate love. The rest of it you don't need to know. But that always gets a chuckle out of somebody, and that always eases my, whatever I'm calling for. The thing about Valentine's Day is that it's not just a celebration of romantic sweethearts. It's a celebration of what kind of a heart do you have? Do you have a sweet heart, right? A heart that is filled with more love, more generosity, more kindness, more compassion. That to me is the true meaning of Valentine's Day. And I hope everybody gets to enjoy that and carry that on through in their life. So when I first began to realize my power was in 1989. A good friend of mine had died from AIDS. And because he and I had been good friends, if you know what I mean, and I think you do, I decided to get tested for HIV myself. So I walked into the Chelsea Health Clinic in Manhattan, and I gave my blood, and I was told to come back in 2 weeks. And I'm thinking, 2 weeks? Oh my God, that was the longest 2 weeks of my life. Because I know that I worried the whole time. And a good friend of mine told me, you cannot be present if you're worrying. You cannot be in the present if you're worrying, because the worry is about being in the future. So after those 2 weeks, I showed up, the caseworker called me in and asked, do you have anybody with you? And of course I didn't, because I feel that I can go through life by myself. I can go through life by myself. That's what I was taught. So I said, no, I'm alone. And so she told me 2 things. One, I indeed had tested positive for HIV. I wasn't really surprised. But the second thing she said to me was, don't keep this to yourself. Right? Tell someone. Your story is what you have. It is something to own. This is from Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, which was published in 2018. She says, when we share our stories, we are reminded of the humanity in each other. And when we take the time to understand each other's stories, we become more forgiving, more empathetic, and more inclusive. Our stories hidden, feeling ashamed or afraid of the choices being made. There's a lot of shame going around at this time. And Michelle Obama continues, your story, with all the highs and lows, what seems like nothing to you and seems so ordinary, is your power. Right? Every choice that we have made since our birth has brought us to this moment in time and in space. And for us, we get to share that together in this space here in Watermill. There's nothing to be ashamed of. We learn, we grow, and we grow through the presence of God in our lives. HOPE, in New Thought Speech, is an acronym for hearing other people's experiences. Don't we love our acronyms in New Thought? We're all about the acronyms, like fear, false evidence appearing real. Or maybe change, choosing honesty allows new growth every day. Oh my God, it's like I can go on and on. But we don't have much time, the timing. So I began telling people, seeing a doctor, getting advice on how to clean up my life. Because I looked at my life and think, what am I doing? And that led me to a 12-step fellowship that connected me to God. It's a spiritual fellowship. I had to excavate my story. I had to really dig down and get in there. What's that about? What are the things I did? How did I live my life? Did I offend people? Right? And then I had to talk about this to somebody else. And I had to bring in an awareness of what's called a higher power. To me, I call that higher power God. You may call it universe, you may call it, spirit, the direction, whatever it is that's in your heart. And it all required me going to the heart and being honest. You see, by understanding where I was powerless, whether it's alcohol or drugs or sex or anything else, I could then discover where my power came from. Ernest Holmes, in How to Use Your Secret Power. I don't know why it has to be secret. They always say it's a secret thing, and he says, every longing and yearning you have ever had, every secret desire of your soul, every constructive ambition you have had is a whispery of the thing called life, assuring you that you are one with it. He's talking about that earlier, no separation. He continues, you are a manifestation, a personification of it. You are a center where life passing through you becomes a definite, distinct, and unique individual. This is my favorite sentence. There is no one else like you in the universe, and there never will be. No one else. So, in order to demonstrate my power, I gotta know what's in my heart. I gotta know what's in my story. And then I gotta share it. So after seeing doctors and sharing who I am, I get the advice to, get myself into better shape. And so I decided to exercise. Right? I'm doing aerobics, I'm doing step aerobics, I'm doing 2 classes a day, and then I'm running. And it comes to me, oh, I'm running to my life. It's my affirmation. It's my affirmation to live. I didn't know it at the time that it was a positive affirmation, but this is also how we access our power, through what we say. But be careful the things that you say. What are you affirming in your life? Are you affirming that you are abundant and prosperous? Or are you affirming, I don't have enough money? Right? I can't afford this. I can't afford that. Those are only words coming out of you. That's a prayer. Are you affirming that you're whole and healthy? Or are you affirming, I'm fat? Just have too much weight. I'm saying this all the time. That's the prayer. The universe is like, oh, she wants to be fat. He says it all the time. It's a prayer. Affirmations are not necessarily good or bad. They just simply reflect what you believe. So here, I have the power to create my world. Everybody close your eyes. Take a breath. Repeat after me. I have the power to create my life, my world. Breathe again. Nice and loud so the whole universe can hear you. I have the power to create my world. And one more breath. Nice and quiet, connecting with your heart. I have the power to create my world. I have the power to create my world. Which is beautiful. There are 12 powers in unity. And Charles Fillmore's book, The 12 Powers of Man, is a metaphysical look at 12 expressions of the divine inherent in each of us. Incidentally, thank you for singing Use Me at the beginning at the Unity of New York, which is where I come from. We sing Unity. We sing that song, Use Me, every single Sunday. And I just love it. Written by Ricky Myers Beckwith. So the 12 powers of man, faith, strength, wisdom, love. There's a power of power, imagination, understanding, order, will, zeal, elimination, and life. And so we're looking at the power of power today. Each of these powers are connected to a body part. So says Charles Fillmore. And the power of power is rested in the tongue. So daily word last month on power. I ran across this and I thought I'd share it with you. When I listen to my inner conversation and recurring thoughts, I may hear fear-based limiting talk, or I may hear positive words encouraging me to live joyfully and confidently. The choice is mine. So much of our power comes from choice. Through my divine gift of power, I take command of my thoughts and my life. I release thoughts of powerlessness, and as I do, my negative self-talk diminishes. I affirm my divine inheritance of faith, wisdom, understanding, and strength with my thoughts, words, and actions. The power to live a full life is mine. I embrace insights I gain through experience. I own my mistakes without shame or embarrassment. I am eager to learn. I am willing to try new things and stretch myself. In power, I thrive. And then these always end with a Bible quote. I'm going to share this one from Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. I love that. What you eat, you love. What you say, you love. What you do, you love. you will enjoy the fruits of all of that. So I continue to run, and I joined the Front Runners Club, which is a gay running group named after a novel by Patricia Neal Warren, which is a love story between a running coach and a star athlete. But this book is noted for being the first contemporary gay novel to achieve mainstream commercial and critical success. Was the first portrayal of gay life to reach #1 on the New York Times. And I needed positive gay stories and positive gay relationships. We all need positive relationships because we don't go through this life by ourselves. So in this group, every Saturday we ran together, and some of them were training for the marathon. I decided, yes, I'll train for the marathon. Why not? I'm running for my life. Marathon day comes, I start running, I'm running, and by marathon is 26.2 miles. By the time I get to mile 20, somebody passes me by, and it looks so strangely like Batman. And he's wearing a cape and a mask and black tights. And we go back and forth for a couple of miles. And then I forget all about him. And I'm running, and I get to the finish line, I raise my hands in celebration of rising up, doing something more than I thought I could ever do. Now, they send you a picture of you raising your hands as you cross the finish line. And when I got my picture, I was so excited. I opened it up, and not only did I see myself raise hands in victory, I saw Batman over my left shoulder. I beat Batman. I get the power. Oh boy. So keeping everything in the heart. I realize that my power comes from the heart. It is who I am. So since we in New Thought love to use acronyms, I created an acronym with my name. Keith. Keeping everything in the heart. And I remember that. It empowers who I am. So that's your homework. For the next time that we meet, which actually won't be until May, but take your name, take the letters in your name, create an acronym, right, that will empower you, that connects you to who you are. I guarantee you, you will not forget it, and you can use it when you need to rise up beyond where you think you could be. When you have to face life as life interjects into what you're doing, so that you can demonstrate the true power of God's presence in your life. Peace and blessings to all of you. Namaste.